Samantha had always thought she had the perfect life. She was married to her high school sweetheart, Alex, and they had two beautiful children together. They lived in a lovely house in the suburbs, and Alex had a successful career as a lawyer. But on the day of their 10th wedding anniversary, Samantha's world was turned upside down. She had planned a surprise party for Alex and had spent all day cooking his favorite meal and decorating the house. As she was finishing up the preparations, she received a call from her sister, Emily. Emily was younger than Samantha, and the two sisters had always been close. Emily was asking Samantha if she could come over and borrow some clothes for a job interview. Samantha agreed, and Emily arrived at the house about an hour later. As Emily was getting ready to leave, Samantha noticed that she seemed nervous and on edge. "Is everything okay?" Samantha asked her sister. "Yeah, everything's fine," Emily replied. "I just need to get going." As Emily was leaving, Samantha noticed that Alex's car was parked in the driveway. She had thought he was working late, but apparently he was home. Samantha's heart began to sink as she walked into the house and saw Alex and Emily together. They were standing in the living room, holding hands and looking guilty. Samantha felt like she had been punched in the gut. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. "Alex, what's going on?" Samantha demanded. Alex and Emily looked at each other nervously, and then Alex spoke up. "Samantha, I can explain," he started. But Samantha didn't want to hear it. She was too busy trying to process what she was seeing. "You're having an affair with my sister?" Samantha asked, her voice shaking with rage. Alex and Emily looked at each other again, and then Alex nodded. "Yes, Samantha, I'm sorry," he said. Samantha felt like her world was crashing down around her. She couldn't believe that her husband and sister could betray her like this. Without saying another word, Samantha turned and walked out of the house. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew she had to get away from Alex and Emily. As she walked, Samantha felt a sense of numbness wash over her. She couldn't believe what had just happened. But as the numbness wore off, Samantha felt a wave of anger and sadness wash over her. She had been betrayed by the two people she trusted most in the world. Samantha didn't know how she was going to move forward from this, but she knew she had to. She couldn't let Alex and Emily's betrayal define her. With a newfound sense of determination, Samantha started to make her way back home. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready to face it head-on. Samantha walked back to her house, her mind racing with thoughts and emotions. She couldn't believe what she had just seen. Her husband, Alex, and her sister, Emily, were having an affair. As she entered the house, Samantha saw Alex and Emily sitting on the couch, looking guilty and sheepish. Samantha's anger boiled over, and she slammed the door shut behind her. "How could you?" Samantha demanded, her voice shaking with rage. "How could you both betray me like this?" Alex and Emily looked at each other, and then Alex spoke up. "Samantha, I'm sorry," he said. "I never meant to hurt you. It just happened." Samantha laughed, a cold, hard laugh. "It just happened," she repeated. "You expect me to believe that? You and my sister, carrying on behind my back." Emily stood up, tears streaming down her face. "Samantha, please forgive me," she begged. "I never meant to hurt you. I was weak, and I made a mistake." Samantha looked at her sister, feeling a mix of emotions. She was angry, hurt, and betrayed, but she also felt a deep sadness. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you," Samantha said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again." As the three of them stood there, frozen in a tableau of pain and betrayal, Samantha knew that her life would never be the same again. Samantha's eyes blazed with anger as she stared at Alex and Emily. "You're both disgusting," she spat. "You're like two snakes slithering around in the grass, waiting to strike." Alex took a step forward, his hands raised in a placating gesture. "Samantha, please listen to me," he said. "I know I've made a mistake, but I love you. I want to make it right." Samantha laughed, a cold, hard sound. "You love me," she repeated. "You love me? You're having an affair with my sister, and you have the nerve to tell me you love me?" Emily took a step forward, her eyes flashing with defiance. "Samantha, you're not perfect either," she said. "You've always been so critical of me, so judgmental. You never gave me a chance." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "You're blaming me for your affair with my husband?" she demanded. "You're blaming me for your own weakness and lack of morals?" The argument escalated, with all three of them shouting and screaming at each other. It seemed like the situation was going to get out of control. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, everything stopped. Samantha's phone rang, shrill and insistent. She hesitated for a moment, then picked it up. "Hello," she said. There was a pause, and then a voice spoke up. "Samantha, it's Detective James. We've found something. Something that belongs to you." Samantha's heart skipped a beat. "What is it?" she demanded. There was another pause, and then the detective spoke up. "It's a video," he said. "A video of your husband and sister together. But that's not all. There's something else on the video. Something that could change everything." Samantha's eyes locked onto Alex and Emily, who were watching her with a mixture of fear and guilt. "What is it?" Samantha demanded again. The detective hesitated, and then spoke up. "It's a murder," he said. "A murder that your husband and sister may have committed." Samantha's world went black. Samantha felt like she had been punched in the gut. A murder? Her husband and sister involved in a murder? She stumbled backwards, her eyes fixed on Alex and Emily. They were watching her with a mixture of fear and guilt, and Samantha knew that the detective's words were true. "How? How did you find out?" Alex stammered. "We received an anonymous tip," the detective replied. "We've been investigating, and we have evidence that links you and Emily to the crime." Samantha's mind was reeling. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her husband and sister involved in a murder? She thought back to all the times Alex had been acting strange, all the times Emily had been secretive and withdrawn. It all made sense now. What happened?" Samantha asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The detective hesitated, then spoke up. "The victim was a young woman," he said. "She was found dead in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. We have evidence that suggests Alex and Emily were at the scene of the crime." Samantha felt like she was going to throw up. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Why?" she asked, her voice shaking with rage. "Why would you do something like this?" Alex and Emily looked at each other, then back at Samantha. "We didn't mean to," Alex said. "It was an accident." Samantha laughed, a cold, hard sound. "An accident," she repeated. "You expect me to believe that?" The detective stepped forward, his eyes locked onto Alex and Emily. "I think it's time we took you both down to the station," he said. As the detective led Alex and Emily away in handcuffs, Samantha was left standing alone, her world shattered by the shocking truth. Samantha watched as Alex and Emily were led away in handcuffs. She couldn't believe what was happening. Her husband and sister arrested for murder? As she stood there, trying to process everything, Samantha's mind began to racing. She thought back to all the times Alex had been acting strange, all the times Emily had been secretive and withdrawn. And then it hit her. The truth. Samantha remembered a conversation she had with Alex a few months ago. He had been acting strange, distant, and Samantha had confronted him about it. At the time, Alex had brushed it off, telling Samantha she was being paranoid. But now, Samantha realized that Alex had been hiding something from her. She also remembered a conversation she had with Emily, where Emily had mentioned something about Alex's problem. At the time, Samantha had thought Emily was just being dramatic, but now she realized that Emily had been trying to warn her. Samantha's eyes narrowed as she realized the extent of the web of deceit that Alex and Emily had spun around her. They had lied to her, manipulated her, and used her. And now they were facing murder charges. Samantha's heart was heavy with sadness and anger, but she knew she had to be strong. She had to see justice served. With a newfound sense of determination, Samantha walked into the police station, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Samantha sat down with Detective James, who began to explain the investigation. "We've been investigating Alex and Emily for several weeks now," he said. "We have evidence that links them to the crime scene, and we've found some suspicious transactions on their bank statements." Samantha's eyes widened as she listened to the detective. "What kind of transactions?" she asked. The detective hesitated before answering. "It appears that Alex and Emily were being paid to commit the murder," he said. "We're still trying to figure out who was behind it, but it looks like they were hired to do the job." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Why?" she asked. "Why would they do something like this?" The detective shook his head. "I don't know," he said, "but we're going to find out." As Samantha left the police station, she couldn't help but wonder what other secrets Alex and Emily had been keeping from her. She felt a sense of betrayal and anger, but she also felt a sense of determination. She was going to get to the bottom of this, no matter what it took. Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to the story than what the detective had told her. She decided to do some digging of her own. She started by searching Alex's office and computer, looking for any clues that might lead her to the truth. After hours of searching, she finally found something. A hidden folder on Alex's computer filled with cryptic messages and codes. Samantha's heart was racing as she realized that Alex had been leading a double life. She spent the rest of the night deciphering the codes, and what she found shocked her to her core. Alex and Emily had been part of a secret organization, one that was involved in all sorts of illicit activities. And the murder they had committed was just the tip of the iceberg. Samantha felt like her whole world had been turned upside down. She didn't know what to do or who to trust. But she knew one thing. She was going to expose the truth, no matter what it took. Samantha's eyes scanned the documents, her mind racing with the implications. The secret organization, known as the Order, was involved in everything from money laundering to human trafficking. She felt a chill run down her spine as she realized that her husband and sister were deeply embroiled in this sinister world. Determined to learn more, Samantha continued to dig, following a trail of cryptic clues and hidden messages. As she delved deeper, she began to realize that the Order was more powerful and far-reaching than she had ever imagined. And then, just as she was about to uncover a major breakthrough, Samantha's phone rang. It was an unknown number, and the voice on the other end was distorted and menacing. "You're getting close to the truth," the voice growled. "Back off now, or you'll suffer the consequences." Samantha's heart was racing, but she refused to back down. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The line went dead, and Samantha was left staring at her phone, wondering what she had just gotten herself into. Samantha tried to shake off the feeling of unease that lingered after the ominous phone call. She told herself it was just a prank, but deep down, she knew it was more than that. As she continued to dig into the order, Samantha began to notice strange occurrences around her. She would find strange symbols etched into the walls, and her computer would crash mysteriously. It was as if the order was watching her, waiting for her to make another move. One night, Samantha received another phone call. This time, it was from an unknown number, but the voice on the other end was familiar. It was Emily. "Samantha, please stop digging," Emily begged. "You're putting yourself in danger." Samantha's anger flared up. "You're the one who put me in danger," she spat. "You and Alex, with your lies and your secrets." Emily sighed. "I know we hurt you, Samantha, but please just drop it. For your own sake." Samantha hesitated, unsure of what to do. But as she looked around her darkened room, she knew she couldn't back down now. "I won't stop," she said, her voice firm. "I'll expose the order, no matter what it takes." The line went dead, and Samantha was left staring into the darkness, wondering what she had just gotten herself into. Samantha's determination to expose the order only grew stronger after the phone call with Emily. She spent every waking moment researching, digging, and following leads. And then, finally, she got her breakthrough. While digging through an old archive, Samantha stumbled upon a document that mentioned a secret meeting between the order's leaders and a prominent businessman. The businessman's name was familiar to Samantha. It was her husband's former boss. Suddenly, the pieces started to fall into place. Samantha realized that Alex's involvement with the order went far beyond just a simple affair. He was in deep, and he had been using his position to further the order's interests. Samantha's eyes widened as she read on, her mind racing with the implications. She knew she had to act fast before the order could silence her. With a sense of determination, Samantha picked up her phone and dialed a number. "Detective James," she said, her voice firm. "I have something to tell you." Samantha's call to Detective James sparked a chain reaction of events. The detective and his team sprang into action, making arrests and gathering evidence. Alex and Emily were taken into custody, along with several other high-ranking members of the order. As the news broke, Samantha felt a sense of vindication. She had fought for the truth, and finally, justice was being served. But as she watched the arrests unfold on TV, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to the story. She remembered the ominous phone calls, the strange symbols etched into the walls. The Order was a powerful and far-reaching organization. Had they really caught everyone involved? Samantha's doubts were confirmed when she received another phone call, this one from an unknown number. "You think you've won," a distorted voice said. "But the Order is just a symptom of a larger disease. And you, Samantha, are just a pawn." The line went dead, and Samantha was left staring at her phone, wondering what lay ahead. Samantha's heart was racing as she tried to process the ominous phone call. Who was behind it? And what did they mean by a larger disease? As she pondered these questions, Samantha heard a knock at the door. She hesitated for a moment, wondering if she should answer it. But something about the knock seemed different. It was soft, almost tentative. Samantha cautiously made her way to the door and peered through the peephole. To her surprise, she saw a woman standing outside. The woman was dressed in a long coat, and her face was obscured by a hat. Samantha's instincts told her to be wary, but something about the woman's demeanor put her at ease. She opened the door, and the woman stepped inside. "Who are you?" Samantha asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The woman slowly removed her hat, revealing a shocking head of bright pink hair. "My name is Ava," the woman said, her voice low and husky. "And I'm here to help you take down the order once and for all." Samantha's eyes narrowed. Who was this mysterious woman, and what was her motive? But as she looked into Ava's eyes, Samantha saw something there that gave her hope. Maybe, just maybe, she had found an ally in her fight against the Order. Ava's eyes locked onto Samantha's, and for a moment, they just stared at each other. "I used to be a member of the Order," Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I saw things that made me realize I had to get out." Samantha's eyes widened. "What did you see?" Ava hesitated, as if unsure of how much to reveal. "I saw the extent of their power," she said. "I saw how they manipulated people, how they used their influence to get what they wanted." Samantha's mind was racing. This was the break she had been waiting for. "What else do you know?" she asked Ava. Ava took a deep breath. "I know that the Order is just the tip of the iceberg," she said. "There's a larger organization at play, one that has tentacles everywhere." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "What organization?" Ava's voice dropped to a whisper. "The Syndicate." Samantha's heart skipped a beat. She had heard rumors of the Syndicate, a shadowy organization that pulled the strings from behind the scenes. "Tell me more," Samantha said, her voice firm. Ava nodded. "I'll tell you everything I know," she said. "But we have to be careful. The Syndicate has eyes and ears everywhere." Samantha nodded, her mind racing with the implications. She knew that she had stumbled into something much bigger than she had ever imagined, and she was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. Ava handed Samantha a folder filled with documents and photographs. "This is what I've managed to gather on the Syndicate," Ava said. "But be warned, Samantha, this is just the tip of the iceberg." Samantha's eyes scanned the documents, her mind racing with the implications. The Syndicate was a vast network of powerful individuals and organizations, all working together to manipulate and control. She saw names she recognized, politicians and business leaders who had been implicated in scandals over the years. But there were also names she didn't recognize, names that seemed to be connected to the Order. "This is incredible," Samantha breathed. "But how did you manage to get all of this information?" Ava smiled wryly. "Let's just say I have my ways," she said. "But we need to be careful, Samantha. The Syndicate will stop at nothing to protect themselves." Samantha nodded, her heart racing with excitement and fear. She knew that she had stumbled into something big, something that could change the course of her life forever. But she was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. As she looked at Ava, she knew that she had found a valuable ally. Together, they could take down the Syndicate and bring justice to those who had been wronged. But as they sat there, poring over the documents and making plans, Samantha couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She glanced around the room, but saw nothing out of the ordinary. Still, the feeling persisted. And then, just as she was about to dismiss it as paranoia, Samantha heard a faint noise coming from outside. It sounded like footsteps. Samantha's heart skipped a beat as she heard the footsteps outside. She looked at Ava, who had also heard the noise. "What was that?" Ava whispered. Samantha shook her head. "I don't know, but I think we should check it out." Ava nodded, and together they crept to the window and peeked outside. To their surprise, they saw a black van parked across the street, its engine running. Samantha's eyes narrowed. "That's not a coincidence," she said. Ava nodded. "I think we're being surveilled." Samantha's mind was racing. Who was behind the surveillance? The syndicate? The order? She knew she had to act fast. She couldn't let them get away with this. Without hesitation, Samantha grabbed her phone and dialed a number. "Detective James," she said, her voice firm. "I need your help." The detective's voice was calm and reassuring. "What's going on, Samantha?" Samantha took a deep breath. "I think I'm being surveilled," she said. "There's a black van outside my house." The detective's tone changed. "Stay inside, Samantha. I'll send someone over." Samantha nodded, even though the detective couldn't see her. As she waited for the police to arrive, Samantha couldn't shake the feeling that she was in grave danger. She looked at Ava, who was watching her with a concerned expression. "We're in this together," Ava said. Samantha nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude towards Ava. Together, they waited for the police to arrive, their hearts pounding with anticipation. But as they waited, Samantha couldn't help but wonder, who was behind the surveillance? And what did they want from her? The police arrived quickly, and Samantha watched as they surrounded the black van. Detective James got out of one of the police cars and walked towards Samantha's house. "Samantha, are you okay?" he asked as he entered the house. Samantha nodded. "Yes, I'm fine. But I think we have a problem." The detective's expression turned serious. "What kind of problem?" Samantha hesitated before speaking. "I think the syndicate is involved." The detective's eyes widened. "The syndicate? Are you sure?" Samantha nodded. "Yes, I'm positive. Ava and I have been investigating, and we found some evidence." The detective turned to Ava. "Who are you?" Ava smiled. "I'm a former member of the order. I've been helping Samantha investigate." The detective's expression turned thoughtful. "I see. Well, we'll need to take a statement from both of you." As the detective began to take their statements, Samantha couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. She knew that the syndicate was powerful and that they would stop at nothing to silence her. But she was determined to see justice served, no matter the cost. As the detective finished taking their statements, Samantha couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. "Ava, can I talk to you for a minute?" Samantha asked, pulling Ava aside. "Of course. What's up?" Ava replied. "I don't know if I can trust Detective James," Samantha whispered. "What if he's working for the syndicates?" Ava's eyes widened. "I didn't think of that," she said. "But we have to be careful. If he is working for the syndicate, we can't let him know what we're planning." Samantha nodded. "I agree. We need to be careful about who we trust." Just then, Detective James called out to them. "Samantha, Ava, I need to ask you some more questions." Samantha and Ava exchanged a wary glance. Were they walking into a trap? Samantha and Ava walked back to the living room, where Detective James was waiting for them. "So, Samantha, can you tell me more about your husband's involvement with the order?" Detective James asked. Samantha hesitated, unsure of how much to reveal. But something about the detective's tone didn't seem right. "I've already told you everything I know," Samantha said, trying to sound calm. Detective James leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "I don't think you have, Samantha. I think you're hiding something." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. What did the detective know? Suddenly, Ava spoke up. "Detective James, can I ask you something?" "Of course, Ava," the detective replied. "What's your connection to the syndicate?" Ava asked, her voice firm. The detective's expression changed, and for a moment, Samantha saw a glimmer of something else. Something sinister. But then, the detective's face returned to normal. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Samantha and Ava exchanged a knowing glance.
They had caught the detective in a lie.
Samantha's eyes narrowed as she stared at Detective James. "Don't lie to us," she said, her voice firm. "We know you're connected to the syndicate." The detective's expression changed, and for a moment, Samantha saw a glimmer of fear in his eyes. "How did you?" he started to say, but then he stopped himself. Ava stood up, her eyes blazing with anger. "You're not going to get away with this," she said. "We're going to expose you and the syndicate." The detective smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "You'll never be able to prove anything," he said. "I've covered my tracks too well." Samantha felt a surge of anger, but she knew she had to stay calm. She had to think of a way to outsmart the detective and bring him to justice. And then suddenly she had an idea. "Ava, let's get out of here," Samantha said, grabbing her purse and standing up. Ava looked at her in confusion. "What's going on?" she asked. Samantha smiled. "We're going to set a trap for the detective," she said. "And we're going to catch him in the act." Samantha and Ava quickly came up with a plan. They would pretend to leave the house, but actually, they would be hiding and watching the detective's next move. As they left the house, Samantha made sure to leave her phone behind, making it look like she had forgotten it. The detective, thinking he was alone, quickly pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Samantha and Ava were hiding behind a bush, watching the detective through the window. "Yes, it's done," the detective said into the phone. "The women are gone, and I have the evidence." Samantha's eyes widened as she realized the detective was talking to someone from the syndicate. Ava nodded, and they both crept back into the house, trying not to make a sound. The detective was still on the phone, unaware of their presence. Samantha quickly grabbed her phone and started recording the detective's conversation. They had him now. But as they were about to confront the detective, they heard a noise coming from outside. It sounded like footsteps, heavy footsteps, coming from the direction of the woods. Samantha's heart started racing. What was going on? Samantha's eyes met Ava's, and they both froze, listening to the footsteps getting closer. The detective, still on the phone, seemed oblivious to the noise. Samantha slowly got up and crept to the window, trying to see who or what was making the noise. As she looked out, her heart skipped a beat. A figure emerged from the woods, tall and imposing. Samantha's mind racing, she tried to process what she was seeing. It was a man, dressed in black, with a scar above his left eyebrow. He looked familiar, but Samantha couldn't quite place him. Ava joined her at the window, and together they watched as the man approached the house. The detective finally noticed them and turned around, his eyes widening in surprise. "Who was that?" Ava whispered. Samantha shook her head. "I don't know, but I think we're about to find out." The man reached the door and knocked 3 times. The detective hesitated, then got up to answer the door. Samantha and Ava exchanged a nervous glance. What was about to happen? The detective opened the door, and the man in black stepped inside. "Can I help you?" the detective asked, trying to sound calm. The man didn't respond. Instead, he walked past the detective and into the living room. Samantha and Ava watched in amazement as the man approached them. "Who are you?" Samantha asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The man finally spoke, his voice low and gravelly. "My name is Marcus," he said, "and I'm here to help you." Ava raised an eyebrow. "Help us? How?" Marcus smiled, revealing a hint of amusement. "I have information about the syndicate," he said. "Information that can help you bring them down." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "What makes you think we're interested in bringing down the syndicate?" Marcus chuckled. Oh, I know all about your little investigation, he said. And I must say, I'm impressed. Ava stepped forward, her eyes flashing with anger. Who are you really? She demanded. Marcus smiled again. Let's just say I'm a former associate of the syndicate, he said. But I'm here to make amends. Samantha exchanged a skeptical glance with Ava. Could they trust this mysterious stranger? Marcus pulled out a small device from his pocket and handed it to Samantha. What's this? She asked, taking the device. It's a data drive, Marcus explained. It contains all the information I've gathered on the syndicate. Financial records, meeting minutes, everything. Ava's eyes widened. How did you get this? Marcus smiled. Let's just say I have my ways. Samantha looked at the device, her mind racing with the possibilities. What do you want in return? She asked Marcus. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes locked on Samantha's. I want her help, he said. I want to take down the syndicate, and I need your expertise to do it. Ava raised an eyebrow. What makes you think we're experts? Marcus chuckled. Oh, I've done my research, he said. I know all about your little investigation. And I must say, I'm impressed. Samantha exchanged a glance with Ava. Could they trust Marcus? But as she looked at the device in her hand, she knew she had to take the risk. Okay, she said finally. We're in. Marcus smiled, a look of satisfaction on his face. Excellent, he said. Let's get to work. But as they began to discuss their plan, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that Marcus was hiding something. And she wondered if she had just made a deal with the devil. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with intensity.
Here's the plan, he said.
We'll use the data on the drive to expose the syndicate's financial dealings. We'll take it to the press, and we'll make sure the whole world sees what they're doing. Ava nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. I love it, she said. But how do we get the data to the press? Marcus smiled. Leave that to me, he said. I have a contact at a major news organization. They'll be willing to listen to us. Samantha's eyes narrowed. What's in it for you? She asked Marcus. Marcus's expression turned serious. I want to take down the syndicate because they destroyed my family, he said. My sister was a member, and they used her for their own gain. I want revenge. Samantha's heart went out to Marcus. She understood his pain and his desire for revenge. But as they continued to discuss their plan, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Marcus seemed to know an awful lot about the syndicate. Almost too much. And what was his connection to the news organization? Samantha's instincts were screaming at her to be careful. But she pushed her doubts aside and focused on the task at hand. They had a plan, and they were going to take down the syndicate, no matter what. The plan was set in motion, and Marcus's contact at the news organization agreed to meet with them. Samantha, Ava, and Marcus arrived at the meeting point, a small cafe on the outskirts of town. The contact, a young journalist named Sarah, greeted them nervously. So, what's the story? Sarah asked, her eyes scanning the data on the drive. Marcus leaned forward, his voice low. The syndicate is involved in a massive money laundering scheme, he said. They're using shell companies and offshore accounts to hide their tracks. Sarah's eyes widened as she scanned the data.
This is huge, she said.
We can take them down with this. But just as Sarah was about to leave, a group of men in suits walked into the cafe. Samantha's heart sank as she recognized one of them, a high-ranking member of the syndicate. The high-ranking member of the syndicate, a man named Victor, smiled as he approached their table. Well, Victor said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Look what we have here. The little whistleblower and her friends. Samantha stood up, her heart pounding in her chest. You're not going to intimidate us, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Victor chuckled. Oh, I'm not here to intimidate you, he said. I'm here to offer you a deal. Ava stood up, her eyes flashing with anger. We're not interested in any deals, she said. Victor shrugged. Suit yourselves, he said. But you're not going to take us down. We're too powerful. Marcus stood up, his eyes locked on Victor. We'll see about that, he said. The tension in the room was palpable as the two groups faced off. But just as it seemed like things were about to escalate, Sarah, the journalist, spoke up. I've already sent the story to my editor, she said, a smile on her face. It's going to be all over the news in a few hours. Victor's face turned red with rage. You'll never get away with this, he spat. But Samantha just smiled. I think we already have, she said. The news story broke, and the syndicate's empire began to crumble. Victor and his cohorts were arrested, and the organization's assets were frozen. Samantha, Ava, and Marcus were hailed as heroes, their bravery and determination inspiring a nation. But as they basked in the glow of their victory, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that there was still more to uncover. She began to dig deeper, following a trail of clues that led her to a shocking discovery. The syndicate was just a small part of a much larger conspiracy, one that reached the highest echelons of power. Samantha's eyes widened as she realized the true extent of the corruption. She knew she had to act fast, to expose the truth before it was too late. But as she turned to share her findings with Ava and Marcus, she saw something that made her blood run cold. A figure, lurking in the shadows, watching her every move. Samantha's heart skipped a beat as she realized she was in grave danger. The conspiracy was far from over, and Samantha was now a target. Samantha's eyes locked onto the figure, her mind racing with fear. Ava and Marcus noticed her distress and turned to see what she was looking at. But the figure had vanished. Who was that? Ava asked, her voice low. Samantha shook her head. I don't know, but I think we're in danger. Marcus's expression turned serious. We need to get out of here now. They quickly gathered their things and left the building, constantly looking over their shoulders. As they walked, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. She quickened her pace, her heart pounding in her chest. Suddenly, Marcus grabbed her arm and pulled her into a nearby alley. What's wrong? Ava asked, her eyes scanning the area. Marcus's voice was low. I think I saw someone following us. Samantha's eyes widened as she realized the truth. They were being hunted. Marcus pulled out his phone and dialed a number. We need a safe house now, he said. Samantha's eyes scanned the alley, her heart racing with fear. Who are you calling? She asked. Marcus's expression was grim. Someone I trust, he said. Ava's eyes narrowed. Who is it? She pressed. Marcus hesitated before answering. It's someone from my past, he said. Someone who owes me a favor. Samantha's eyes locked onto Marcus's. What's going on? She asked. But before Marcus could answer, a group of men appeared at the end of the alley. Run, Marcus shouted. They sprinted down the alley, their footsteps echoing off the walls. Samantha's heart was pounding in her chest. They were being chased, and they had nowhere to hide. They ran for what felt like hours, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. Finally, Marcus stopped in front of a nondescript building. In here, he said. They burst through the door and found themselves in a cramped, dimly lit room. A figure emerged from the shadows. Marcus, the figure said. It's been a long time. Marcus nodded. Raven. Thanks for taking us in. Raven's eyes flicked to Samantha and Ava. Who are they? Marcus hesitated before answering. They're with me. We're in a bit of trouble. Raven's expression turned serious. What kind of trouble? Samantha stepped forward. We're being hunted by a powerful organization. They'll stop at nothing to silence us. Raven's eyes narrowed. I see. Well, you're safe here. For now. But as Samantha looked around the cramped room, she couldn't shake off the feeling that they were far from safe, and that Raven was hiding secrets of her own. Raven led them to a small kitchen where she began to brew a pot of coffee. As they waited, Samantha couldn't help but ask, Raven, how do you know Marcus? Raven's expression turned guarded. We have a complicated history, she said. Marcus intervened, his voice low. Raven and I used to work together. We were part of a team. Ava's eyes narrowed. What kind of team? Marcus hesitated before answering. We were a black ops team. We did jobs for various organizations. Samantha's eyes widened. You were a spy? Marcus nodded. I was. But I got out. I couldn't take it anymore. Raven's eyes flicked to Marcus, a hint of sadness in her expression. But before Samantha could ask more questions, Raven spoke up. We need to focus on getting you three to safety. We can't stay here for long. Samantha nodded, her mind racing with questions. But as they sipped their coffee, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that Marcus was still hiding secrets, and that Raven was hiding something big. As they finished their coffee, Raven handed Samantha a small device. What's this? Samantha asked. Raven's expression was serious. It's a secure phone. You can use it to contact me or Marcus. Samantha took the device, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. But as she turned it on, she noticed something strange. A hidden message was encoded in the device's software. Samantha's eyes narrowed as she decoded the message. It read, Trust no one. Samantha's heart skipped a beat as she realized the implications. Who had sent the message? And what did they mean? Samantha's eyes locked onto Marcus's. What does this mean? She asked, showing him the message. Marcus's expression turned serious. I don't know, he said. But I think we have a mole. Ava's eyes widened. A mole? Who? Marcus hesitated before answering. I think it's Raven. Samantha's eyes snapped to Raven, who was watching them with an unreadable expression. Why do you think that? Samantha asked. Marcus leaned in, his voice low. Raven's been acting strange. And I think she might be working for the other side. Samantha's mind was racing. Could Marcus be right? Was Raven a traitor? Or was Marcus just being paranoid? As Samantha looked at Raven, she saw something that made her blood run cold. A small earpiece in Raven's ear, and a voice whispering in her ear. You're getting close, the voice said. Time to take them down. Samantha's eyes locked onto Raven's, and she knew that Marcus was right. Raven was a mole. But what did she plan to do next? Raven's eyes flicked to Samantha's, and for a moment, they locked gazes. Samantha saw something in Raven's eyes that made her heart sink. A glimmer of guilt. A hint of betrayal. Samantha's instincts screamed at her to act fast. She grabbed Ava's arm and pulled her toward the door. Run, Samantha shouted. But it was too late. Raven pulled out a gun and aimed it at them. I'm sorry, Raven said, her voice cold. But I have a job to do. Samantha's eyes locked onto Raven's, and she knew they were in grave danger. But then something unexpected happened. Marcus tackled Raven to the ground, wrestling the gun out of her hand. "Get out of here!" Marcus shouted at Samantha and Ava.
"Now."
Samantha didn't hesitate. She grabbed Ava's arm, and they sprinted out of the safe house. But as they emerged into the bright sunlight, Samantha knew they weren't safe yet. Raven was just a small part of a much larger conspiracy, and they still had to take down the mastermind behind it all. Samantha and Ava ran as fast as they could, not stopping until they were blocks away from the safe house. Finally, they slowed down, gasping for breath. "What just happened?" Ava asked, her eyes wide with fear. Samantha shook her head. Raven was working for the other side. She was a mole. Ava's eyes narrowed.
"But why?"
What did she hope to gain? Samantha's mind was racing. "I don't know, but I think it's time we went after the mastermind behind all this." Ava nodded. "But who is it?" Samantha's eyes locked onto Ava's. "I think it's someone close to us. Someone we trust." Ava's eyes widened in shock. "Who?" Samantha hesitated before answering. "I think it's Detective James." Ava's eyes narrowed. "But why?" "He's been helping us." Samantha's expression was grim. "That's exactly what he wants us to think. But I think he's been playing us all along." Ava's face paled. "What do we do now?" Samantha's eyes locked onto Ava's. "We take him down." But as they turned to leave, Samantha saw something that made her blood run cold. Detective James was standing right behind them, and he was smiling. Detective James's smile grew wider as he approached Samantha and Ava. "Well, well, well," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Look what we have here." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "You're the mastermind behind all this," she accused. Detective James chuckled. "I'm impressed," he said. "I didn't think you'd figure it out so quickly." Ava stepped forward, her eyes flashing with anger. "Why?" she demanded. "Why did you do all this?" Detective James shrugged. "Money, power, the usual motivations," he said. "But also, I have to admit, it was fun. Watching you two scramble around, trying to uncover the truth." Samantha's eyes locked onto Detective James's. "You're not going to get away with this," she said. Detective James laughed. "Oh, I think I will," he said. "You see, I've taken precautions. I have evidence. Evidence that will make sure you two are silenced forever." But before Detective James could reveal what he had planned, a voice interrupted him. "Not so fast, Detective," the voice said. Samantha turned to see Marcus standing behind Detective James, a gun pointed at the detective's head. "I think it's time you paid for your crimes," Marcus said. Detective James's eyes widened in surprise as Marcus pressed the gun to his head. "You'll never get away with this," Detective James spat. Marcus smiled. "I think I will," he said. "You see, I've been playing a little game with you, Detective. And now, it's time for you to pay." Samantha and Ava exchanged a nervous glance. They knew that Marcus was capable of taking down Detective James, but they also knew that it wouldn't be easy. Just as Marcus was about to pull the trigger, Detective James made a desperate move. He grabbed Marcus's wrist and twisted it, trying to break free. Marcus grunted in pain, but he refused to let go. The two men struggled, their faces inches apart. Samantha and Ava watched in horror as the scene unfolded before their eyes. They knew they had to do something, but they didn't know what. Just as it seemed like Detective James was about to overpower Marcus, Ava made a split-second decision. She grabbed a nearby object and hit Detective James over the head, knocking him unconscious. Marcus turned to Ava, a look of gratitude on his face.
"Thanks," he said.
Samantha nodded, her eyes locked on Detective James's unconscious form.
"It's over," she said.
"We did it." But as they stood there, basking in the glow of their victory, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that there was still more to come. And she was right. Detective James was taken away, charged with multiple counts of corruption and conspiracy. Samantha, Ava, and Marcus were hailed as heroes, their bravery and determination inspiring a nation. But as they basked in the glow of their victory, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling that there were still loose ends to tie up. She began to investigate further, digging deeper into the conspiracy. And what she found shocked her to the core. A mysterious figure, known only as the Architect, had been pulling the strings from behind the scenes. The Architect had been the mastermind behind the conspiracy, using Detective James and others to do their bidding. Samantha's eyes narrowed as she realized the truth. The conspiracy went far beyond what they had initially thought. And the Architect was still out there, waiting to strike again. Samantha's determination to bring the Architect to justice burned brighter than ever. She gathered Ava and Marcus, and together they formed a plan to track down the Architect. Their first lead took them to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. As they entered the warehouse, they were met with an eerie silence. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the warehouse, sending chills down their spines. "Welcome, Samantha," the voice said. "I've been expecting you." Samantha's eyes scanned the warehouse, trying to locate the source of the voice. But the Architect remained elusive, hiding in the shadows. "What do you want?" Samantha called out.
The voice laughed.
"Oh, I think you know," it said. "I want to play a game with you." Samantha's heart sank. She knew that playing games with the Architect would be deadly. But she was determined to bring them down. "Let's play," she said, her voice steady. The Architect's laughter echoed through the warehouse once more. And the game began. The Architect's voice echoed through the warehouse, guiding Samantha, Ava, and Marcus through a maze of twists and turns. As they navigated the warehouse, they encountered a series of challenges and puzzles, each one designed to test their skills and ingenuity. But Samantha was determined to solve the puzzles and uncover the Architect's true identity. She worked tirelessly, using her knowledge and expertise to overcome each obstacle. And with each challenge she completed, she felt herself getting closer to the Architect. But the Architect was always one step ahead, anticipating Samantha's every move. And just when Samantha thought she had finally solved the final puzzle, the Architect revealed a shocking twist. The game was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. The Architect's voice echoed through the warehouse once more. "Congratulations, Samantha," the Architect said. "You've made it to the final round." But as Samantha looked around, she realized that something was off. Ava and Marcus were nowhere to be found. "Where are my friends?" Samantha demanded. The Architect's laughter echoed through the warehouse. "They're right where I want them," the Architect said. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the warehouse was filled with a bright glow. When the lights dimmed, Samantha saw Ava and Marcus standing in front of her. But something was wrong. Their eyes were glazed over, and they seemed to be under some kind of mind control.
"Ava."
"Marcus," Samantha shouted, but they didn't respond. The Architect's voice echoed through the warehouse once more. "You see, Samantha, I've been playing a little trick on you." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "What have you done to them?" she demanded. The architect's laughter echoed through the warehouse. I've made them loyal only to me, the architect said. Samantha knew she had to act fast. She had to save Ava and Marcus before it was too late.
But how?
Samantha knew she had to think fast. She examined Ava and Marcus, looking for any clues that might help her break the mind control. She noticed a small earpiece in each of their ears. It was the same type of earpiece that Raven had used. Samantha's eyes narrowed. She realized that the architect must be using some kind of advanced mind control technology. She quickly removed the earpieces from Ava and Marcus, hoping that it would break the mind control. At first, nothing seemed to happen. But then, Ava and Marcus blinked, and their eyes slowly cleared.
Ava.
Marcus! Samantha exclaimed, relief washing over her. Ava and Marcus looked around, confused. What happened? Ava asked. Samantha quickly filled them in on what had happened while they were under mind control. As they listened, their faces darkened with anger. We need to take down the architect, Marcus growled. Samantha nodded. Let's do it. Together, the three of them charged forward, determined to put an end to the architect's evil plans once and for all. But as they reached the heart of the warehouse, they were met with a shocking surprise. The architect was waiting for them, a smug smile spreading across their face. But it wasn't just the architect. There was someone else standing beside them. Someone Samantha never expected to see. Samantha's eyes widened in shock as she took in the scene before her. Standing beside the architect was none other than Samantha's own sister, Alex. Samantha felt like she had been punched in the gut. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Alex, what are you doing? Samantha demanded, trying to keep her emotions in check. Alex smiled, a cold, calculating smile. I'm doing what needs to be done, Samantha, she said. Samantha's mind was racing. She couldn't understand why Alex would betray her like this. But as she looked into Alex's eyes, she saw something there that chilled her to the bone. A complete and utter lack of empathy. Alex was beyond redemption. She was a lost cause. Samantha knew what she had to do. She steeled herself and charged forward, determined to take down Alex and the architect once and for all. But as she fought, she couldn't shake off the feeling that she was fighting a losing battle. Alex and the architect seemed to have the upper hand, and Samantha's heart was heavy with the knowledge that she might have to make a choice between saving herself or saving her sister. Samantha fought with every ounce of strength she had, but Alex and the architect were too powerful. Just when it seemed like all was lost, Marcus and Ava intervened, taking down the architect's henchmen and giving Samantha the opening she needed. With renewed determination, Samantha charged forward, taking down Alex and the architect in a fierce hand-to-hand combat. As the dust settled, Samantha stood victorious, but at great cost. Alex lay unconscious at her feet, and the architect was nowhere to be found. Samantha's heart was heavy with grief and guilt. She had saved the city, but at what cost? Her relationship with Alex was irreparably damaged, and she didn't know if she could ever forgive her sister. As she stood there, trying to process her emotions, Marcus and Ava approached her. We did it, Samantha, Marcus said, his voice filled with pride. But Samantha just shook her head. We may have won the battle, she said, but the war is far from over. And with that, the three of them walked away, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. But as they disappeared into the night, a figure watched from the shadows. The architect. And they smiled, because they knew that the game was far from over.